There is a war happening on the soul of our nation, a war on truth, a war on justice, a war on the people. My name is Minister Dominique Alexander. I have stood on the front lines, not in comfort of political chambers, but in the heat of the streets where injustice meets resistance. For the last decade, I've led the Next Generation Action Network into the fight for human and civil rights, from the courtroom steps to the classroom, from the protest line to the policy room. But now we bring the front line to you.
Hello everyone, this is Dominique again, y'all. Okay, so real quick, the first two episodes of this edition, I've been going through a lot of different things. I think I was talking about DEI. The first day, of course, it was the day after Martin Luther King Jr.'s conversation, and of course I was talking about, Donald Trump, the Trump administration, also, the fact that MLK Day is 365 days a year. And I wanted to remind people that justice is every day, every hour, every minute, every second. But at the end of the day, I don't take away from the fact that people love to celebrate Dr. King's, legacy, but only part of it. And I hope that that conversation the other day challenges you to live out his legacy 365 days of the year, right? So look, man, my goal is to just make sure that I continue to engage people in a conversation. Next week, we're gonna start having some guests come on the show, me interacting with them, and I'm just trying to make Jeremy's life a little easier doing these productions. So, even though, we had to do like 3 recordings yesterday, but, I'm not gonna say anything or whatever, but it's not my fault, all right? But so, but with this being said, I want to thank y'all, all of the support, the feedback that you have given me and Jeremy and the whole team over here, because we greatly appreciate it, right? Of course, we can't be great without you, right? And for our haters, keep doing what you're doing, because you are very encouraging in this current climate, y'all. So real quick, I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and I thought about it, man, just a while ago, and I'm going to speak about something that's going on here locally in the city of Dallas. So if many people, I hope that this creates a conversation that you can have in your areas or different areas where you live at or whatever. But I'm going to talk about a situation here in the city of Dallas. Just this morning, I came to my office and I started to see all these police vehicles and all of these, city of Dallas vehicles in a field that's right here beside, not knowing that that was DPD pretty much rounding up homeless people and pretty much finding, destroying their stuff, taking their things, pretty much, doing the work of the Republican Party in this current governor, Greg Abbott, that clearly has waged a war here in the state of Texas on homelessness, right? But refused to actually fund from the state of Texas, fund actually homelessness, fund actually give funding to expand Medicaid and all of those things, right? And I just, when I'm looking at them do this, I don't know if you guys know, but we're about to impact in the next couple of days a winter storm, right? And of course they're saying that it's going to, snow here, all of that, and hey, I always, the weatherman, me and the weatherman go back and forth all day. My grandmother used to say that they're paid robbers. They're the only people that can get their job totally wrong and have it in the morning. But the reality is that, they say that Friday going into Saturday, we're going to have a freeze, right? So it really hurt my feelings to see this encampment. And I know that the political climate will have people sit here and say, "Oh man, those homeless people are doing this, they doing that, and doing this." Listen, if one person doesn't mean all 30 is doing it, right? And so the reality is when you're dealing with political commentary, if one person do something, they gonna carry and put it as a blanket reality for everybody. And it really, really, truly hurt my feelings this morning to see that. And of course, being the activist in me, the chief of police and the city manager is going to hear a piece of my mind later on. But I wanted to talk about this because you have this governor, Governor Greg Abbott, who is a Trumpinite, who literally does not care. I purchased this book the other day because y'all don't see this book a lot of times while I'm doing these productions. You're going to see it a lot of times because I'm going to show you. I'm just going to continue to show you these things over and over and over again. It's kind of like what I said yesterday. Don't let people cower out and say DEI. Make them say diversity, equity, and inclusion. I am against diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Don't let them punk out, right? And so, this current governor and this current grand wizard that currently occupies 16 Pennsylvania, we know they don't care nothing about this right here, right? The Constitution of the United States does not apply to them. They don't give a damn. They don't, it's right here. So, I'm just giving you a little bit of understanding. They don't care about the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, none of that, right? So, with that being said, we have some local governments that fall in the prey to the political rhetoric of individuals that don't care about the city of Dallas or our communities at whole. They are creating chaos in our community. Governor Greg Abbott's administration literally sends back more than $5 billion in Medicaid expansion every year. Those funds could be used to make sure that nonprofits can create access to healthcare in critically hard hit areas, making sure that we can have mental health providers, all of these different types of things. But the crazy part is that it's quite funny that the same individuals who pretty much says, oh, the city of Dallas is this, the city of Austin, Houston, all these, are the same people that literally refuse to expand Medicaid and give resources. We already know they defund education every year, right? And so, but as soon as we talk about defund the police, right? But let's fund the police and let's defund everything else, right? And Texas is great, right? And so the reality is that a lot of us fall into their traps of their narrative, right? And we use those things not knowing that those narratives were created by the individuals that want us to fail from the beginning, right? And so that's the reason why I always tell people all the time it's important to read, it's important to know your facts, it's important to educate yourself. And especially if you're a policymaker or elected official and different people, it's important when you do that. And a lot of times I see these conversations on social media all the time, and I be wondering where people get their take from, and I'm like, where did you get that from? Like, that's crazy. But it's quite crazy that we have these same individuals who literally are trying to destroy our city come out and say the city of Dallas is not tough on crime. They're not addressing homelessness and different things. And just recently, AT&T announced that they were going to move their headquarters to Plano. And everybody just got on the blame game. Oh, the city of Dallas is doing this, they're failing to do this, they're leaving because of homelessness, they're leaving because of this and this, that, and the third. And it's crazy because it's like, where are you getting this stuff from? Where really tell me, where are you getting this stuff from, right? And so it's like, hey, AT&T is not just leaving; it's leaving because its employees want them to build a actual campus where there are quality of life services that are all around them, right? And I challenge people who have been at like Frito-Lay headquarters, PepsiCo, Target headquarters. Like, I've been at these headquarters before. These are like mini worlds within the four corner of a wall, right? And at the end of the day, y'all, downtown has more than probably about 10, 15, 20, I don't know, so many corporate companies that got 1,000, 5,000 employees that come into downtown. And sometimes when you give employees the right to vote to, something better, there are better things that come out. But I wanted to show y'all this clip real quick of I'm gonna have Jeremy show you the entire clip because I just don't want to get one snippet out of it. But I want you guys to see what they are saying. And it's a comment of Governor Greg Abbott and him blaming the city of Dallas and this and that and all that type of stuff, whatever. And I really want you to see exactly the rhetoric. I want you to see it, and then I'm gonna talk to you when we fade back. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Governor Greg Abbott is weighing in after AT&T said that they're going to be moving their headquarters out of downtown Dallas, and they're going to build a new global campus up in Plano. The governor says the move reflects deeper problems at City Hall. Our Aaron Jones reporting tonight. Dallas police are pushing back.
So, I've been here for about 3 years now, and I think it's cool. It's downtown. It's lively.
Edward Meadows says from restaurants to retail and entertainment, the AT&T Discovery District always has something to offer. He wonders what will happen once AT&T moves its headquarters to Plano.
A little disappointed. I think it's cool that it's like down here in the heart of the city.
Governor Greg Abbott says Dallas is paying the price for what he believes are failures by local leadership, including homelessness in the downtown area and police staffing.
Local leaders, it's their responsibility to ensure that homeless people are not endangering their citizens. It's the responsibility of local leaders to fully fund their local law enforcement. Because Dallas did not do that, AT&T is now moving out of downtown Dallas.
Yeah, there is a lot of homeless people around, but I always do feel safe whenever I'm walking around, no matter like where I'm at specifically.
The homeless, it's an unfortunate situation for sure. But I think that downtown Dallas is pretty safe from what I've seen in my personal experience.
Abbott also says he'll be looking into whether Dallas violated state law, which prohibits cities from defunding police.
If you go back to the law that I signed, and that is we will defund any city that defunds their police.
Last year, DPD created a dedicated patrol division, boosting visibility with mounted units, bike officers, and foot patrols. They say those efforts help deliver the fastest emergency response times, averaging 2 minutes for Priority 1 emergency calls.
I think that there's a good police presence around. So yeah, I feel pretty safe whenever I'm out here.
Thursday, CBS News Texas reached out to AT&T for its thoughts on what Governor Abbott had to say. The company declined to comment. In Dallas, Aaron Jones, CBS News Texas.
So real quick, I'm glad you guys saw that. And one of the things I want to be able to do as we do this production, I want you guys to hear it, right? And a lot of times I'm going to bring it to you as we continue these dialogues so that you can see this, right? So you have a governor that says, and I told somebody there are 3 different categories of what I put. This is just my opinion. If you disagree with it, God be the glory. I'm not trying to offend anybody or anything of that nature, right? I tell you 3 different. You have people who are just down on their luck, of course, probably formerly incarcerated individuals who probably, haven't had the opportunity, the education level, whatever it may be. And then you have chronic homelessness around mental health, right? And then you have those ones that just out there just doing the fool and blah, 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 and all that type of stuff or whatever, right? That's how I, put them in 3 different baskets, right? But the reality is data shows us that the majority of those are individuals that, one, want help, and 2, they don't know how to ask for it because they're dealing with chronic mental health. But now you hear a governor that says that the only solution towards addressing homelessness is not addressing the socioeconomic element of a community. It's not addressing or giving more jobs or opportunities, not giving more wraparound services and funding homeless solutions, right? Not trying to find housing vouchers, not trying to make sure that we put more clinicians on the streets, not making sure that we give more nonprofits to do more work in the community, not empowering a community to say, hey, how can we fund our communities and our neighborhood associations and our HOAs or whatever it may be. Now we make it a police issue, right? And I always tell people all the time, law enforcement are not dog catchers, right? But these are the same people that sit here and play these political rhetoric, like, we support the police, we support the police. No, what you do is you even drive police officers into mental health, because guess what? You end up having them do things that they are not prepared to deal with. Officers are not prepared to deal with chronic mental health. Officers are not meant to help with homelessness. What are they gonna do? They're walking out there with a gun, pepper spray, and a billy club. What do they have to address somebody that are dealing with homelessness? And then what you do is you sit here and say, hey, lock them up. Well, guess what? You lock them up, that's on taxpayer dollars. Taxpayers are still footing the bill, right? So what are you doing? You just kicking the can down, right? I always tell people all the time, you know, it costs you $3,000 to send them to Dallas Community College and $45,000 to lock them up in prison, right? So help me do the math, right? And then you wonder why when they get out, why they worse than when you sent them. And so the reality is that we have these politicians that are continuing to push on their yet endless rhetoric that has no ending to it. Like that really has no real critical solution to addressing the issue at hand. And then you have local city council people falling into that stupidity. Oh, we gotta get them off the street. Get them off the street and take them where? If it's this encampment this day, if it's this encampment the next day, what are you doing? All they're gonna do is going in this big old circle. You can clear them out. They're gonna go down the street. You can clear them this way. You can go down the street. Rather than finding ways to really address those issues. And what I'm telling local leaders is saying, no, when the governor trying to come back at you, you go at him and say, hey, governor, at the end of the day, if you want to address homelessness in the city of Austin, Houston, and San Antonio, and Dallas, fund it. Put your money where your mouth is. Don't continue to defund education, defund healthcare, and then point the finger at local communities when you are taking the tax revenue forward. So the reality is y'all, it deepens me that we continue to go in this cycle of just political rhetoric, and we just allow them to say whatever they want to say, right? And it's just stupidity. You blame a corporate company leaving downtown on homelessness and crime, and the fact that the city of Dallas didn't fund police. First of all, the city of Dallas literally had to comply with those STU amendments. So the city of Dallas had to hire more than a couple of hundreds of officers. And it's just a lie. It's just political rhetoric that then people come and use. And then you even have Democrats that fall in the hands and say, oh, this is not safe, this is not this. Man, come on, man. Don't let these people that are creating the problem literally point the finger at you. And so right now, right, when we deal with homelessness in these areas, we have to really have a real broad conversation about what is currently going on in our local communities. And guess what? We need our state agencies and we need our federal government to stop creating wars. Tell your president, stop violating this book right here by kidnapping sitting presidents and stuff or whatever, and thinking that this book right here is supposed to govern us, right? It's one of those checks and balances that allows us to kind of like make sure that our presidents actually follow the law, that our actual governors follow the law. But I'm here to tell y'all, they don't give a shit about this, okay? But at the end of the day, that's the political rhetoric that continues to go on, y'all. And I hope my conversation today helped you guys in being able to understand this, man. It's really sad that we have the type of leadership that we have in Mayor Eric Johnson, which is a total, complete failure in the city of Dallas. No true leadership on the city council. And so sometimes conversations be based on political rhetoric versus data. There are so many different data sets and incredible people who have put together proposals, put together plans in place. But sometimes those things get buried and overlooked by the political rhetoric, not facts, by just fear-mongering tactics, right? And we fall into those fear-mongering tactics every day. The governor, oh, Dallas is unsafe. And in that video, you had two people who live downtown and say, no, downtown is safe. So who do you want to hear? Do you want to hear from the governor, or do you want to hear from the people who are actually on the ground? I lived in downtown. I didn't have no problem downtown. I didn't have no problem with homelessness. Yeah, they have issues and different things of that nature, and yeah, they might, some of them that's dealing with chronic homelessness might shit in the streets. Like, you deal with that. But at the end of the day, I don't blame them. I blame a system that literally says, we're talking about $5 billion that can address homelessness. Right now, our county tries to do what they can. Our state tries to create MHMR, but those services are very limited, very hard to get access to. But when you are refusing $5 billion that could be used in these hard-hit areas, then, man, but at the end of the day, you have money for everything else, right? But you don't have you don't have money to actually fund the things that we need to fund. And so, I always tell people all the time, man, please stop falling into the political cycle of rhetoric from this Trump party, this Trump Republican Party, these racist white supremacists. Let's stop falling into their hands. Let's stop falling into their narrative on social media, all of this different types of stuff. At the end of the day, we have to stand on facts, truth, and knowledge. Data doesn't lie, lived experience doesn't lie. And that's one of the things that we have to get back to being able to do. So, that's my little take on homelessness, man. I had to say that because I had something that I was going to talk about totally different when I got on this conversation. But just having that happen outside of our office really bothered me in a major way, that I just had to change every bit of this conversation, right? And so I just hope that conversation, y'all, sometimes when I'm having this conversation, I really get emotional because, if anybody know me, I've met some of the most incredible people at a homeless shelter. Incredible people that are just down on their luck. And I hate when we have a government that literally Christians, they're godly people, and they just forget this little part of the scripture that says love thy neighbor. You know, it's just that one little simple thing, love thy neighbor. And sometimes in the world, in this climate that we're currently living in, I remember one of the shortest scriptures of the Bible. And I always use this analogy of, when I say this, is he still doing this? And that shortest scripture is Jesus wept. And I think about it in the contrary and saying, man, this is what he wept about. Like the fact that we're living in 2026 and we don't give a damn about our neighbor. We don't care. We just look at them. That ain't me. Go on about your way. And I just don't want to subscribe to that type of faith, to that type of life. You know what I mean? Yeah, we have problems. Yeah, there are issues, and some issues where homelessness and homeless people get a bit violent and different things, but that's not all of them. Like, I hope that people in the city of Dallas force their leaders to really address and not fall into the political rhetoric that's currently going on. So that's my little 2 cents on that, y'all. I ain't finna keep on going, because I knew I was finna get mad. I finna get real mad, right? And then I ain't want Jeremy to see me on this camera over here crying. Cause I still gotta keep it peep. What they say, keep it good. So, with that being said, y'all, like I told y'all on all of these episodes, I was gonna wear my Oak Cliff hoodie, right? And so, real quick, this edition of the Oak Cliff hoodie, the For Oak Cliff, like I said, For Oak Cliff is a nonprofit in Oak Cliff. They vow to address systemic oppression in the super block of 75216. It is founded by my friend Taylor Torrance. I'm gonna say his name, I'm gonna say them, I'm gonna give him a plug every time I wear one of these hoodies, right? And so this edition is the great Franklin D. Roosevelt High School in Oak Cliff, Texas, the home of the Mustangs, right? And this is their edition, their colors, their school colors. And then tomorrow, you know, I'm gonna dub them real good, right? And so this edition is the Roosevelt High School, but like I said, you can go on www.foroakcliff.org and order your hoodie, right? I tell you, you know, when you go on there and support this organization, you're supporting the cause, and I just ask that anybody, and I want to thank everybody, because I know I got a couple of different inboxes of people asking me, where do I go buy that hoodie at, right? And so just know that all of your Oak Cliff high schools are actually, their colors are on there. And so, man, it's just been a beautiful thing or whatever and stuff like that. So, but today, y'all, I you know, like I said, I just wanted to come on here and talk about the issue of homelessness in this country. And I just hope that conversation really helped you and challenged you to really think broadly, think lovely, and always walk boldly. But at the end of the day, I want to thank y'all, man. I promised Jeremy that I wasn't gonna be on here long, right? And so, and I promised Jeremy that I wasn't gonna be on here long, right? And so, and because he had me in front of this camera for like 3 hours yesterday, I want to bring and stuff like that. But y'all say something to Jeremy or whatever. Jeremy, holla at the people.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, he trying to get me up off here, because I'm throwing his under the bus. Okay, sound like one. But other than that, like I said, until next time.
You've just heard the truth. Not watered down, not corporate approved, not shaped to fit their narrative, but from the souls of the street where justice is born. This isn't about the algorithms or headlines. This is about our children, our elders, our freedom, our right to live, breathe, vote, speak, and be seen. If you felt something in your spirit today, if you heard your story in mine, then this is your platform too. I need you to be a part of the movement. Subscribe, follow, stay connected, not just to me, but to the mission. Find me on every ALEX, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever they call it.